hope they come to understand that storytelling, the act and the process of sitting together like we're doing and asking each other questions and listening face to face to somebody tell us the story of their experience or their journey is a valuable and very missing part of our communities and our homes these days. Because we've come to rely on text messages, we've come to rely on emails, Facebook, Twitter, faxes to give ourselves the illusion of communicating, but people are really, really hungry for the opportunity to sit down in a chair with a cup of tea or a cup of cocoa in front of a fire and just hear each other.
I think I want to be an Indian. But you know, living in the city, there wasn't a whole lot of them around. So I didn't have any like walking, talking role models, only what I did see on the silver screen. Sometimes I thought, well, maybe that's lacking a little substance. But there I am one day, one afternoon, it's all dead in big al frescoes, I'm waiting around, sitting on the stool, listening to the tunes. Went in through the door, walks this walking, talking, denim clad, braids down to his butt, Indian. And I could tell he was Indian because he had cheekbones like baseballs. Great big broad chin, had that stoic look about him. He walks over to the wall and he grabs a pool cue off the rack and he commences to shooting some 9-ball all by himself. And I'm looking at him, seeing his braids hang down over the green table, and I'm thinking, whoa, a real live one. Now I'm gonna go over there. So I take my time and I don't want to disturb him. And I sidle up to the stool right beside the table and I'm getting ready to sit down and he gives me a look like this. And it was then I realized that you don't sneak up on an Indian. Where are you from? And he says, I am a red man. I make my home where the first febrile rays of the sun touch the morning dew on the grass of the prairie. I live where the great waters tumble down, cascading down from the mountains and the glaciers to enrich the land below them. I live where the tides and the surf pound the shores of this great island we call Turtle Island. And I'm like, whoa. Well, what I meant, man, was, don't you have any reservations? And he says, yes, but only about politics and the hip-hop scene. I said, no, where do you live? He says, oh, over on Pine Street. Silvery bells, silvery bells, it's Christmas time in the city. Watch
it's
this,
true.
I'm gonna bring it home.
For a long, long time, I existed in words and phrases that were on paper or on radio, on television, and there was seldom a presentation of myself as this wild, kinetic, hilarious, mimic, comedian, stand-up storyteller. When I did this performance for the first time last March in Calgary, a person who's known me for a long, long time came up after that performance and said, where did all that come from? And where it comes from is from the traditional storytelling techniques that Ojibway elders and Ojibway people, traditional teachers, taught me years ago. And they gave it to me because they said that it was an important responsibility to be a storyteller. Not just to carry the tales themselves, but to enrich other people and empower other people to take that energy and bring it into their own circles so that they could tell their own grandchildren's stories, tell their own sons and daughters' stories, tell each other stories about their time here.
Hi, friends. I'm Red Neckerson. You know, me and my family, we've been farming this farmland here for generation after generation. We raised grandkids here, We buried some of our ancestors. We grew crops and we learned how to manage this land, and we like to call it ours. And that's why I took it a little bit personal when them Indians moved in across the road. Everybody did. Everybody thought, oh great, now there's going to be a bunch of junked up cars in the front yard. Going to be loud noise, goings on all the time. Thought, well, there goes the dang neighborhood. Family moved in across the road. Guy's name was Ernest Loon. What kind of name is Ernest Loon? And when Ernest Loon come back from college with a degree, he took to farming that land. Had him some practices. I didn't know what the hell was going on. But he made that land work, he made that land sing, he made that land prosperous. And it depressed the dickens out of me. But I still didn't know how to talk to him, because how do you talk to an Injun? One day, we're down at the feed store and hanging around smoking and talking, and in through the door walks old Ernest Loon. And he goes up to the counter and orders himself a bag of feed. And while he's waiting for it, old Gilly down the road, he says to him, hey, how is it that an Injun like you can come along and take some of that prime farmland and make it all productive and make it hum and make it sing like you do, all by yourself? How do you do that? And then Ernest Loon, he turned around, didn't wait a beat. He looked at all of us square in the eye. That impressed me. And he only said one word. He said, fortitude. I looked at Gilly and I said, what the hell's that mean? And he said, I don't know. I think it comes from when they used to hang around at the forts as beggars. Seemed to fit for me. My name's Lonnie Flowers. I don't know nothing too big or important about Indians. I don't have to. The brothers are my brothers. So I took it upon myself to bring my native brothers and sisters the only gift I really got. That's the gift of my ample butt. Because you see, one thing that's culturally true is native people ain't got no butt. It's like a straight line from their shoulder blades to the back of their heels. I told my native brothers the other day, I said, you got to walk around with 2 wallets filled through Monopoly money to give yourself some contour. Because you see, you're out there powwow dancing, you're doing all that stuff, but you're not really dancing. Because dancing comes from the hips and comes from the rump. That's why we call it rump rolling in church. You get in the aisle and you go, eh? The amen corner is just a cooking. There's hand clapping and praising the Lord. Everybody's happy, but it's all rump rolling, baby. That's how you find salvation. Rump rolling. So I took it upon myself to teach my native brothers how to do that. Took them a little while because they're used to doing this.
All we will have when it's all over is the story of our time here as individuals and as a collective humanity. So we need to remember to tell stories to each other, because we enrich that process when we do that. And if we neglect it or we forget it and we rely on our thumbs instead of our hearts, we're short-circuiting our own potential.